we celebrate our country's birthday, and it's a fascinating thing to talk about. Some of you might know I taught American history for a long time. I'm a big fan of America, big fan of American history, and it's not about this perfection model. It's about this idea that Americans tended over the years to been a nation of strivers, people trying to get it better and better. And that means there's a lot of different perspectives, there's a lot of different views in terms of how that happens. But we have the mechanisms where we really do kind of try to muddle our way through as best we can. And I want to talk about that a little bit today, and sort of what I see as some of the bedrock parts about this more perfect union, and tie them into kind of a spiritual framework, because I think that there's a lot of it that is deeply spiritual, that really does matter. So thank you for joining me. Great to have you here on 10 Minutes of Morning Calm this 4th of July. So it's interesting, a more perfect union and the 4th of July. Well, 4th of July, as many of you know, probably all of you know, that was the symbol of the Declaration of Independence. That's when it got signed. John Hancock most famously signed it so large because he wanted the British to know, like, you're not gonna mistake who I am. And anyways, like it's issued on the 4th of July. It really was not a plan for a new nation, and that's where a lot of people get the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence confused. Declaration of Independence, it was literally that. It was a declaration of independence. There was no thought of what kind of nation they wanted to create, though you can see echoes of it in there. But it was really clearly saying, like, these are all the things that the king's doing wrong. We're going to move away because that's what we have to do. There are certain unalienable rights. These are being trampled on. So we need to have a Declaration of Independence. And probably the flag that is most famous around that cause, around the revolution, is the flag "Don't Tread on Me," which some of you have seen. It's a picture of a rattlesnake. Don't tread on me. Sometimes you'll see people have that on their bumper stickers. Bumper stickers are flying in the yard. Yeah, that goes back to the American Revolution. Well, that Declaration of Independence, is as many attempts at independence do. It's a great starting point that needed to happen, but we needed to evolve. So years and years later, you have the U.S. Constitution, you have the Articles of Confederation, that was much more based on independence, not interdependence. And that basis on independence created a lot of problems. Didn't work, and so the founding fathers, those that were still remaining, still in the game, so to speak, they started authoring the U.S. Constitution. And the U.S. Constitution is far more about interdependence. So we have the Declaration of Independence, that's about independence. We have the U.S. Constitution, that's about interdependence. And they're always trying to, like, find this balance. What's the balance between independence over here, interdependence over here? And that's so much the American journey. How do we pull those things along together? And the flag there was very different. If you look at the flag, one nation under God, literally it's one flag with at that time, all the the states were on there. And it's this idea that we are one, that there's a unity here that we need to honor. And that gets sorely tested during the Civil War, but we come out a stronger nation. We come out a more perfect union. It'd be hard to argue otherwise, because the slavery, that the horror of slavery had to go, and it had to shift, and it had to change in order for there to be a more perfect union. So that shift, friends, like for the 4th of July, again, I think there's so many takeaways here. One is, let's be so clear and honor that the whole idea that movement, that emotional movement towards independence, is really important. It's important at an individual level. It's important at a national level. It's really important. And at the same time, it needs to give way over time to more and more this thought of, how are we interdependent? How do we rely on one another? And that, Martin Luther King's word were woven into a single fabric of destiny. And that idea that we're all kind of woven together. There is no self-made man, and the idea that there's no self-made man, and literally, like, thank you, Lord, for that. We're never self-made. It always is dependent on so many other people and so many other things. Doesn't mean that there isn't room for our own unique voice. Clearly, there is room, and there must be room for our own unique voice. And at the same time, it's within this greater weaving, this greater fabric. And we can see echoes of that in so many parts of spirituality too, where there's this real focus on independence, us coming into our true selves, and we have to free ourselves from all kinds of things to do that. Jealousy, vengeance, anger, addiction, like all kinds of things we have to free ourselves for, to find that independence. But then when we do, we have to find ourselves in this interdependence with others. And it's fascinating, and most people don't realize this, and it's a great little sermon in the box, so to speak, very short one, which is that famous passage of First Corinthians 13. First Corinthians 13, which is read at almost every wedding I do, because it's such a beautiful statement of love. This is really significant. It was not written for a wedding. It was not written for a wedding. It was written for a community that was slowly moving away from that interdependence that God calls us to. So I want you to hear it within that line. This is First Corinthians 13. It's just simply beautiful. And again, see this as spoken to a community, and you can read the subtext. What was the community forgetting that the Apostle Paul had to say, hey, you need to remember this to move forward. If I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put away the things of childhood behind me. For now we see only dimly in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, and then I shall be fully known, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. Oh, just chillingly beautiful. And you think about gathering a group of people who were in danger of forgetting the interdependence that they all shared. They were forgetting about the communal aspects of life and the community parts of life. And here he offers this incredibly beautiful statement about love, and that love in the end is what's going to matter, and our love for our fellow human beings, that humanity, that's what's going to matter. And that's what I think the Declaration of Independence, setting up as independence and then moving into this beautiful thing, the U.S. Constitution, I think that was part of what the founding fathers were trying to capture, is this beautiful balance. And we see this need as well, friends, and I'll close on this, with the Lord's Prayer. It's interesting with the Lord's Prayer. There are no singular pronouns in the Lord's Prayer. It's all about this us. It's all about our desire for the as in heaven, so upon the earth, for the kingdom of heaven to exist on earth. Now, again, there is a heaven here and then and there. We know that, but it's also real important that the endeavor is to bring it as close as we can to this life and this experience, however imperfectly that can be. We have to do it very humbly with a lot of care. But that's the kind of thing I think maybe we can think about this 4th of July. Yes, of course, celebrate the independence. Eat hot dogs. Yesterday we had a great conversation. How many bites should it take to eat a hot dog? My vote is 4. However you're going to enjoy the 4th of July, enjoy it. Enjoy that celebration of independence. And also at the same time, enjoy the celebration of interdependence, because that is really what the end goal is. That's what we're trying to do, is to create structures and create churches and communities and families where all of us have our light to shine and we let it shine, and it's shining within the context of a greater community, and a greater community that can celebrate all of it. So there's your thought for today on this 4th of July, friends, and I hope that makes a lot of sense. What we will do now is we're going to flip over onto Facebook. I would strongly doubt anybody's actually watching this live, given it's a holiday, but we will see if we can see anybody here. So just my apologies for averting my gaze for a minute. Darlene, it is great to see you, Darlene. Hope you and your wonderful hubby are doing well. Let's see if there's any other comments on there. Jeff, good morning and greetings to you from Lake Wampaupack. Great to see you joining us today, buddy. All right, and now let's flip over to here. Let's see if there's anything else coming up there. Give me a second here. Let's see what happens. All right, one more quick flip, friends, and then we will take a look, see if there's anyone else joining us. I am sorry about the delay here. Again, it's not always that smooth sailing when we come to technology. That is for sure. All right. Rita, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Sherry, good morning to you. And that sure was a fun sermon writing team yesterday, as you noted. And Gene, my friend down in Easton, good to see you joining, Gene. And happy 4th of July to you and your family as well. Oh, and there's Chinyone joining us from over in Africa. Happy Independence Day. Thank you, Pastor Chuck. Love is. It absolutely is. Like, just it's kind of funny, right? Like we get all confused, and I just think about all this. I mean, the politics of the Corinthians must have been pretty dire, and all this confusion. What should we do, and how do we include people? And then here comes Paul. He's just like, look, dudes, remember, love is. Let's just be clear. Let's just be clear about that. Everything else is going to go away, but love is what's going to remain. So, friends, God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Please join us on Sunday. We have a wonderful New Church Live service ahead for you, and have a very wonderful, amazing, celebratory 4th of July. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.